My name is Eric. I was born in North Carolina. My childhood was, for outward purposes, pretty normal. Two parents. For over 16 years, my father was molesting me. When he wasn't molesting me, my mom was just beating me at times to where you couldn't see the color of flesh. I tried my best to hide it. I can remember when I was 10, I grabbed the biggest knife I could find and I put it to my chest and I started pushing. But at that age, I couldn't overcome the pain of the knife, so I put it down. Life went on. I went to high school in Florida, played sports, was highly active, achieved two-sport athlete. All my academics, had a couple scholarship offers. Nobody ever knew what I was going through. When I was 16, my father went to my mother, told her what he was doing to me. We went to the church in Orlando seeking help, and they turned us away, said that they would have to turn him into the authorities. So my mom took me back home, where I stayed and continued being abused by both of them. Things were really spiraling out of control for me. I actually started drinking in high school, a little bit before school, just trying to numb things. A lot of girlfriends, trying to prove that I wasn't what my father was doing to me. I graduated. There was an instance where my father come in, he went after my brother. Things escalated and I went after him. And when all was said and done, he was unconscious on the floor and I was told to leave. So in 1986, I joined the Air Force. Felt like I finally found a place I could be safe, a place where I could be myself, put the past behind me. I've served in the Air Force for 6 years, did a tour in Desert Storm, met a woman when I was home on leave, and got married. We had a son. My first thoughts were, am I going to do to him what was done to me? Am I that person? It didn't take long to figure out that I wasn't. The kind of love I felt for my son, I knew it wasn't abnormal. In 1992, I got out of the Air Force. My then wife and I went to Florida. My decisions, all the running that I had done trying to put my past behind me, started creeping back up. We actually had another son, and at the time she delivered, we had already separated. Then in 1998, I felt like I'd lost it all. I'd lost my home, lost my boys, lost my marriage. So I loaded my 9mm handgun, and I looked down the barrel, and the only thing I could think was that I can't let my boys see me with this. So I went and grabbed 2 bottles of painkillers, laid down. I had my gun in one hand and a picture of the boys in the other. Spent about a week in a psychiatric unit for my suicide. Came out in 2001. I met a man who was a pastor, and he started inviting me to church. I met a woman who I felt like was going to be the one, and in 2004 we got married. During our marriage, things just weren't working out. In 2008, I had to make a decision whether I was going to choose God or I was going to choose my marriage. So I walked away from my marriage. Last year, I made a decision that I was going to go back to school and I was going to be a massage therapist to work with veterans. But one day, I had an incident at work where I tore tendons in both my wrists at the same time, which completely took away schooling for massage therapy. Somehow I wound up on Liberty University website and I saw Christian counseling, and I knew without a shadow of a doubt that's what I was supposed to be doing. Last August I started at Liberty working on my bachelor's in psychology with an emphasis on Christian counseling. I will graduate next year with my undergrad degree because I know God put me here, and He allowed everything in my life for this moment, because I can never understand the pain and the suffering and the chaos had I not gone through it already. I've had a tremendous amount of time to be able to spend with my boys. My 13-year-old specifically, he does everything with me. He goes everywhere. I've coached him and his older brother all the way through the youth football leagues in Chesterfield County. I volunteer with Red Line Ministry, which ministers to drag strip racers at Richmond Drag Strip. We just have a great time together. Life has really turned around. Just over a month ago, I discovered the Rock, and it seems like every time I come, I bring more people with me. My oldest son, who has really stayed away from church, he talks about taking time off from work just so he can come. He fights back tears when he sees the videos. He's been really moved, and that makes a huge impact on me. Since I've accepted Christ in my life, that's all I've wanted for my boys, and I can see through the Rock, it's coming. It's definitely happening.
Imagine staying in this moment, staying in this moment forever. It's true.